Welcome, security pros, to another Hacker News webinar series. I've got a familiar face to many of you who've been part of this webinar series before. Yiftach Keshet is the VP of Product Marketing over at Silverfort. He'll be joining us for a very exciting webinar this afternoon. Yiftach, how's it going, buddy? Welcome back.
All good. Happy to be here. Have great memories from the last time and looking forward for a great journey together.
Yeah, last time we had a lot of really good questions. So I'm excited to see what the audience brings to the table today. It's going to be a great one. We've got a really awesome topic here. Let's go ahead and get that slide up here as we wait for a few more people to join us here um, for this webinar. We're going to give folks another about 15 or 20 seconds to get into the room here before we get started. We also want to be respectful of everyone's time. While we do that, though, just some housekeeping notes, gang. Here's what we're going to be doing. Yiftach will be presenting. Ask your questions and write them in the chat. We'll see them. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible. I'll say what I always say on these webinars. Can't promise we'll get to all of them. We'll try, but Yiftach will share information at the very end of the webinar to if you have any pressing questions that we didn't address during the webinar, feel free to email those to Yiftach and the team over at Silverfort, and they'll be happy to get you all the information you need about it. So without further ado, Yiftach, let's go ahead and get this webinar going. So I want to introduce and welcome everyone to another Hacker News webinar series. It's great to have you here with us. My name is James Azar. I'm a Chief Information Security Officer and moderator of the webinar on behalf of the Hacker News teams. I'm excited to present and welcome my good friend Yiftach Keshet. He's the VP of Product Marketing for Silverfort. Today's webinar is on solving the top 5 pain points plaguing identity teams, and it's going to be a really good one. So Yiftach, without further ado, floor is all yours. Take it away.
Okay, thanks, James. Hi, everybody. Thanks for everyone who joined. I have also one small request. As a rule of thumb, discussion is always better than a monologue. So feel free to post your questions. Be brutally honest if I say anything that seems imaginary, far-fetched. Don't hesitate to post that. I'll be more than happy to answer questions and talk just instead of presenting over and over. I'm going to talk about the as the title implies. I'm going to talk about the top PAM pain points that identity teams struggle with. But as a spoiler, I want to tell you the slides are just the beginning. The core part of this webinar will be the demo of our security product that attempts to address, actually succeeds in addressing these pain points. So keep in mind, wait with I do suggest to hold off some questions for the actual product itself. So, as James said, without further ado, let's start. One sentence of intro, okay? PAM solutions, privilege access management, solutions like CyberArk, Delinea, and many other great products. They're an amazing technology, okay? The notion behind them is I think is solid. Basically saying user accounts are an attack surface, administrative user accounts, privileged user accounts are exponentially more important, hence they must be guarded. No wonder that we see PAM solutions as a common practice among multiple organizations. Almost every security professional, every cyber insurance, every regulatory framework, they all agree that you need a PAM solution. Now, having said that, no security product is a silver bullet. And since we at Silverfort, we deal with identity protection, we've come to know, to get acquainted with top 5 challenges that hold back security and identity teams from realizing the full security potential of their PAM solutions. And these one needs to be addressed. So let's start. Challenge number 1: you can't secure what you can't see. So PAM, and I'm sure you all know that PAM is amazing for your privileged accounts, but it has this one limitation. It's limited to the privileged accounts that you are aware of. What does that mean? It means that if there are privileged accounts, administrative accounts that you don't know that they even exist, you can't place them in the PAM. Now we have two prominent groups here. We have service accounts. These are machine to machine accounts that usually are highly privileged because they are created in order to access multiple machines. However, they are created without, I would say, most times they're created without proper documentation. Plus, you don't have any magic button that you can click on and see all of them. So basically, it means that when you start onboarding your privileged accounts, there will be service accounts you're not aware of. The other group are shadow admins. Shadow admins, and I'm not referring here to the ones that an adversary creates after compromising your network. I'm referring to accounts that were inadvertently assigned overly privileges. These privileges could be direct access privileges, or what is more common, the ability, for example, to reset the password of actual admins or of actual users. These two groups are an attack surface that the PAM solution, by definition, cannot secure. Okay, and I want to reiterate. Okay, if any of these challenges resonates with anything that one of you guys is experiencing in its real life practice, please don't hesitate to ask, to come forward, to share it with me. As always, I believe that we can gain the most just by this dialogue and getting this live feedback. So challenge number two, okay, you can't rotate if it's going to break. As you all know, what one of the main security functionalities that PAM solutions have is their ability to vault all the all the privileged users inside them, and within this vault automatically rotate their password. In that manner, even if an attacker achieves in compromising the password or the clear text password or the password hash of an admin, most chances that by the time he'll try to use it, it won't be valid anymore. This is a key security functionality. Problem is, you can't apply them to usually either you can't or it's very challenging to apply them to service accounts. Why? Because the service accounts usually are hard code. Their credentials are hard coded in scripts. These scripts cannot be automatically synced with the PAM, and if you rotate your password, what will happen is that the passwords in the script won't be valid anymore. Hence, they'll result in the service account login failure, breaking, as the nice visual here shows, breaking every process and every dependency that this service account might have. Okay, and as a result, most identity team will be reluctant from just naively placing these service accounts within the PAM vault. Challenge number three. Oh, as we all know, James, I'm positive you've encountered it much. Many people adhere the doctrine that the user itself, the human being, is the weakest link in our security stack. And basically, what it means is that you can spend all the security budget that you want. Okay, you can implement product, you can deploy them, you can maintain them. However, if your users refuse to be protected, there is literally nothing that you can do. In that case, PAM aims to secure the admins, to secure the users that have privileged access. Now, what it means, and we'll see that in the demo soon enough, what it means in practice is that when the PAM is in place, your admins cannot log in directly to resources, to servers, to workstations, or to any other resource. Rather, they are logging into the PAM console, and only from the PAM console they are maintaining sessions and remote connections. Now, many admins hate that because they're the admins, they're kings. No one will tell them what to do, least of all the security team. And what we see, unfortunately, is a very common practice of admins extracting their password from the PAM and accessing resources directly, leaving them exposed to credential compromise and actual malicious access.
Yiftach, just to stand corrected there for just a moment, I'll tell you, users are
Mhm.
your first and last line of defense.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And what do you have in the middle? I wonder if the users are the first in line. I would
Technology.
say what? technology.
That's where you've got all of your entire security stack, right? But then the people
Hmm.
who operate your security stack are people, and then the people who are the targets are typically the people. So they're your first and
Yeah.
last line of defense.
Yeah, and I agree. This is definitely a universal truth. And in a way, you can think of it as a sandwich, right? It doesn't matter how good is the inside. If the two pieces of bread are not of a good quality, it will be a very hard sandwich to swallow. So in that case, you have the human in the outside, the human in the ins in, on both sides, and technology inside. Definitely, it's all up to the human. And again, we've seen that in multiple attacks and campaigns. Challenge number four: you can't use a protector to protect itself. I think in every almost in every language in this earth, there is some idiom that basically says that one cannot pull itself in its own bootstrap. I mean, I know versions in Hebrew, in English, and in other languages, and basically it means that uh, PAM can protect a lot of things, but suppose an attacker gains access to the PAM itself. Okay, we've witnessed that actually. I think it was 6 or 8 months ago in the infamous Uber breach. What happened there was that the adversaries there, I would say they strived and to get access into the PAM itself. They've actually done that for the way they achieved that was to get into a shared folder that had a script with service accounts credentials to access the on-prem PAM. And when they've accessed the PAM, well, that was the end game. They harvested the credentials to all the SaaS applications, to all the critical resources on-prem and in the cloud. And basically, so PAM is great. PAM is the protector, but the protector needs another protector, and so on and so forth. Last but not least, challenge number five: you can't protect what's not there. At the end of the day, okay, even though you probably, under the best circumstances, you place most of your privileged users within the PAM, in most cases, there will be some users that you choose not to. It might be a service account that manages too many processes, and you don't want to take the risk. It might be you might determine that not all admins of all levels should be in the PAM. Okay, only the higher privileged ones, and you'll always find some users that you've knowingly and informally decided not to place in the PAM. So what about them? They're also privileged users that need defense. Now, I would say that my guess is, okay, that almost every identity person, every identity professional that at some point was engaged in the onboarding, in the deployment, in the ongoing maintenance of a PAM solution has encountered at least two, maybe even three of these challenges. And the problem is, okay, and this what I'm saying now, this is no, it is no big news at all. Problem is that while we, as at least we try to be the good guys, we're the ones that are protecting the Rome. While we need to protect all of our users, the adversary only needs to discover a single exposed one. Okay, and as a rule, it means that in a way we can't afford our privileged accounts protection to be partial. Okay, and again, there's no silver bullet. Nobody ensures us that even if all of them will be protected, our defenses won't be bypassed. But at least we need to check box. Excuse me, my language. We need to check. We definitely have to check box the protection across all of them. And these five challenges, they hold us back from claiming that our privileged accounts are indeed protected. Okay, so these are the challenges. I do wonder, do any James, did any of our audience post any question, comment,
Yeah,
thumbs up, down?
yeah, so we've got a lot of thumbs up, a lot of great comments here. We do have some questions. I think a lot of those would be answered in the demo that's coming up here in just a few minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to interrupt your flow. I think we'll go back to some of those questions, and I'm keeping good track of them, and see as we
Okay.
get to the demo how we can answer some of those. Because again, Alan's asking great question. Jennifer has another one, right? Mo's got a good one. We'll get to all of those questions here in just a little bit, but I just want to make sure we one, we stay on time, and number two, I think a lot of those questions would be answered in the demo because you guys
Mm-hmm.
didn't come here to see a PowerPoint. You guys came to see Yiftach Dude's magic, and that's what he's about to do with the demo.
Okay, that's great. So one last slide before we go to the demo itself. This is the end result that we get. We have a PAM box. Okay, we might even be compliant with the PAM regulation requirements. What we don't have is a true PAM protection. And this was actually one of our motivations when we built Silverfort Unified Identity Protection Platform. Okay, we envisioned a platform that is able to to monitor, analyze the risk, and secure authentications, and become I would say, the best partner to any identity protection solution, including PAM. And with that, I'll switch to the demo itself. Okay, so just one short introduction. Okay, this is our the dashboard of our platform, and it really this it tells our story. Okay, at the left we have users, privileged users, standard users, service accounts. See here in this demo, these are all the identity providers that we have here in our demo environment: Azure AD, Okta, Ping, Active Directory, ADFS, and of course Radius. What you see here are authentications that are coming from each and every one of these identity providers. Whenever a user attempts to access any of them before Active Directory or Ping or Okta, but let's focus on Active Directory for the sake of this webinar. Before Active Directory denies or grants access to a user, it always forwards it to Silverfort. These are the dots that you see here. These are actual access attempts, authentications. Silverfort monitors all of them, okay? Analyzes the risk and determines whether they can be trusted, whether they are downright malicious and should be blocked, or should be verified with an MFA policy, okay? And now let's dive into the product itself and see how this technology enables us to address the five PAM challenges that we've just seen. Okay, so let's start. First of all, remember the first one was you cannot secure what you can't see. Let's start with service accounts. Now, remember, I've told you that Silverfort sees each and every incoming authentication, right? So with that, this enables Silverfort to analyze the behavior of the user accounts, and after a week or two, say, listen, actually, this account, this SVC DR backup account, you know, it behaves rather strangely. It always logs in from these four resources to these 10 destinations, always at the same time. Actually, no human user behaves like that, right? This is repetitive, it's predictive, it follows a distinct pattern. It probably means that this guy, SVC DR backup, is a service account. Okay. Now, I really overly simplified here something that involves much smarter algorithms that were built by people way smarter than myself. Okay. But the point is that our visibility into all the authentication, first, it enables us to filter out all the service accounts. Okay. This is something that actually I'm not aware of any other solution that can do that. And in that manner, what would have otherwise would have required you weeks, if not months, of manual labor, you get it here on a silver tray. Okay, so this is the service account. Now, let me before we go over to the shadow admins, which is very interesting as well. So let me jump for a moment to the other gap. Right, we said that you cannot protect anything. We cannot rotate anything that might break. So suppose I'm asking myself, So this SVCDR backup. Who's this guy? What do I know about him? So if I click this icon, I will get to our friend SVCDR backup. I'll be able to deep dive into its actual activity. I'll say, okay, you know something? Always, these are the sources, these are the destinations. Okay, now I can make an informed decision because I will probably know what is the application that this service account manages. I can actually go to these 12 and I will say the script exists here on this 12 sources. Okay, now I know what it does, I know what are the dependencies, and now I can make an informed decision. I can, for example, say, okay, I'm placing the service account in the vault. I'll rotate the password, let's say, every 7 days, and I know in advance that I will have to replace the scripts or change them or update them in every cadence. Now, I might also decide not to do that, and we'll refer to that further on. But I have the full visibility that enables me to make a decision. Okay.
So Yiftach,
So
there's a question
yeah.
coming from Jeff here, and I think it's really good, and it's hitting the point you're talking about, which is the sources of specific the admin accounts here in PAM. His question is, are you able to proactively feed this information into the SIM, and then can you? Sorry, I'm reading the question here, and the font's a bit small. And can you, um, and then can you set alerts to that, and can you essentially block IPs?
Okay. So
So
that was a
a
multiple choice
multitude of
question.
not a that was answer all.
Okay. Okay. So
A great
I'll
question by
start.
Jeff. Thanks for being here, Jeff. By the way, really appreciate you.
Yeah, great question. So first of all, yeah, everything that takes place at Silverfort can be exported to the SIEM via syslog. Okay, this is compatible with every SIEM solution. There are several products like Splunk, like Exabeam, in which we have even a deeper integration. We're available in their application, in their app market. But going back, yeah, everything can be exported. Everything can be exported. You can configure yourself if you want it to be exported in the form of alerts. Okay, that was the first question. Okay, um, I do apologize, James. Can you what was the second one?
So the second was, can this be a proactive solution? I'm just summarizing. Meaning,
Yeah,
could this be proactive? Meaning, can you essentially potentially using the Silverfort platform? I'm assuming that's what they mean here, right? So
yeah.
Jeff, I'm assuming this is what you mean because I'm reading your question again. Is could you potentially block malicious IPs from the PAM actually connecting
So
to them?
what we would block won't be so because this is again this is an identity protection platform. So we're not blocking IPs. Okay, we're blocking users. So going back, for example, to this service accounts. Okay, let's assume that so we have two options. Either I decide to vault it, and in that manner, from now on, the PAM will take care of its protection. However, if I decide not to vault, so Silverfort, for every service account that it discovers, also immediately creates an off-the-shelf policy. This policy basically says allow authentications for the service accounts that meet the following conditions. What you have here are the sources and destinations that the standard behavior of this service account includes. Okay, and we're saying allow this. Otherwise, block access. You can choose either to alert to SIEM, alert in Silverfort console, or block access. Okay, uh, there are very good solutions, network segmentation solutions. I said that operate at the network level, and they will block access from certain IP to the other. But here, in the context of the service account of the service account, we'll apply a policy that will block the service account itself. Now, as a spoiler, okay, and we'll soon see that when we'll soon see how for the admins themselves we can actually enforce a policy that will block their access from any machine that is not the PAM. But this won't be configured through IP, but through through the machine name. But this we'll get to that in a few minutes. So I hope I answered the question. If any further clarifications required, I'll be happy to address that later on. Okay, so this is what we do with service accounts, which is a rather big deal in many cases, and most of our customers and prospects, we constantly hear that one of the main blockers to conclude a successful onboarding of the PAM solution are the service accounts. Okay, it's basically the inability or the challenge in discovering them, in mapping their dependencies and behavior, and onboarding them to the PAM. Now, we're going back to challenge number one. We also, if you remember, we talked about shadow admins. Okay, and again, shadow admins are users that have been unintentionally assigned with the ability, for example, to reset the password of other users. Okay, or accessing resources they shouldn't have. Now, think of this scenario. We have the user Bob, which is a standard user, doesn't have any special access privileges, but Bob can reset the password of the user Alice. Okay. Now, it might happen that the user Alice can reset the password of the admin James. Okay. In that case, if an adversary will compromise Bob's account, he or she will be able to subsequently reset user passwords until reaching the admin James itself, and it will be downhill from there on. And it's actually rather trivial for an attacker that already has a foothold in the environment to discover these type of shadow admins. And again, so Silverfort automatically discovers them. By the way we discover shadow admins is actually we don't extract this information from the traffic. Rather, what we do, we periodically run scripts on the Active Directory, querying users, their privilege level, their reset password, and all the privilege access ecosystem in order to detect various risks, for example, such as shadow admins. Now, if I'm a Silverfort user, every morning I open the console and I see, wow, we have these two shadow admins appeared out of nowhere. When I click that, I see, okay, these are A Green at AD whatever and MD SVC read only. Well, we must hand to our demo team kudos for their creativity in usernames. Anyway, now I have these two users. Now, first of all, they're not in the shadow anymore. I can discover them. Well, if they are true users, I can go back to Active Directory and set their permissions in place. Okay, or I can say maybe I'll delete them altogether. I'll do reset, whatever. The point is, okay, they're not well. I would say that whether they'll remain admins or not, it's up to me. Silverfort ensures that they're definitely not shadow anymore. Okay, so this is in that we've addressed the first and second challenges. Okay, any questions about shadow admins from any of our listeners?
We've got a few here. Let's take this one from I believe it's Xavier. Xavier is asking, is there a way to time out shadow admins from the platform?
Do you mean? Oh, I see. So you're asking if I assume. Tell me if I got it right. I think the question is whether can I from the Silverfort console itself reset passwords, revoke users' permission,
Correct.
etc. If only we could have do. If only we could do that. No, we're not doing that. You can't do that, and this is actually on purpose. I would say, domain controllers, they are the most sensitive component in the environment. Okay, I think the last thing that any identity person would want is that to have somewhere a product that from it you can actually interfere with the actual configurations that you do in the DC itself. We believe that we believe in inspiration here. Okay, you manage users from Active Directory. Okay, you protect users or you disclose users at risk from Silverfort. Okay, in that way, Active Directory can do what it does best, which is managing users, assigning them privilege access, revoking them, taking them, demoting or promoting them. Okay, and on the and Silverfort can do all this, can be accountable for all the security functionalities that Active Directory, unfortunately, doesn't know how to do. Okay, so let's proceed let's proceed onward. Okay, let's talk about challenges 3 and 4. Okay, and challenge 3 was about the admins that bypass bypass the PAM. Okay, so we'll soon show how we can get over that. But in order to do that, we need to log into the PAM. Now remember, we said that the PAM cannot protect itself. So in that case, let's what we can do with Silverfort. I think so. Accidentally, okay, I have this policy name. I have this policy here in advance, basically saying CyberArk LDAP, which means that whenever a user tries to access the PAM, okay, to access the PAM interface, it will be subject to an MFA. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter. This is, as you see, this is a static policy applying to everyone. And you can see that if, just a moment, if I now will try from this machine to as you see, I have here the CyberArk web portal. So if I'll double click, so when I double click it, and as expected, the network connectivity here is challenging, and I'm choosing LDAP, and now I'm inserting my username, which is Iftach, and here, and my password. So you see it rolls here. The reason this round thing is rolling is because, I'll show you here now, it's because, I don't know if you can see here, but I got prompted and I'm saying yes. And now I'm in the PAM console, okay? And what I want to show you now is this policy. The policy that I have here basically says, okay, block RDP to CyberArk from other clients. So this one applies to me and to my good friend Guy. And basically, look what it says. When you log in from any source, excluding this ACWC CARCW3, this one, I'll tell them, guys, that's the PAM. That's a CyberArk PAM. So whenever I log to any device that is not the PAM, the action is denied. Okay. Now, let's see if that's really the case. So as you can see, let me scroll down here. This is me. Okay. AC. I can connect from. I can connect only from here. Okay. Suppose. Let's just suppose, for the sake of this demo, just a minute, let me minimize that so we can find our RDP. Okay, you see, let's assume that I'm this admin that tries to access directly this ACWC app one. Okay, I try to connect. Okay, I provide my password. Okay, and I'm blocked. Okay, user account restriction. I can't do that. So if I do want to access ACAWC app 1, okay, the only way I can do that is go here to the PAM, click the connect, saying reason webinar, okay. I will log into my friend ACAWS APP 1, okay, copy that here as well. Oh my God. This field is mandatory, so just a minute. AWS, see, AWS app 1. Here also AC, AWS app 1. Okay, now I'll click the connect. I get this one. When I'll double click that, now I have an open RDP session. Okay, that it's recorded because it's through the PAM, and basically that is the only way that myself, as an admin, can connect to this machine. Okay, now wrapping it all together, basically what we've seen with Silverfort is I can enforce admins to log in through the PAM only. I can also secure the access to the PAM solution itself. I can also, and we've just seen that. I also provide automated visibility to all the service accounts that I have, and also to all the shadow admins. And now I can decide for myself whether I want to vault them or not. And in case I've decided not to, I can protect these service accounts with a policy. And in a similar manner, I can also protect any user or admin that were involved with MFA policies as well. And the underlying technology that makes all this possible is Silverfort's ability to natively integrate into Active Directory authentication flow, connect also with the PAM, and become a native part of this authentication journey that starts when the user provides its credentials until the actual access. And in that manner, we are enabling our customers, our users, to really get a 360 PAM, a 360 PAM protection. In a way, um, this definitely summarizes what we have. It's a 360 protection for all administrative access, from onboarding through the ongoing operations to the complementing protection for the PAN itself.
So Yiftach, we've got one question here. We have time for about one, maybe two questions, depending on how long it takes to answer this one. So this one's from
Okay.
Amos. Amos is asking, what's some of the mistakes you've seen people do in managing their PAM solutions?
Well, it's actually, I won't call that a mistake. It's more of a hurdle. I've usually what people do, I think people try to place their I would okay I think the mistake is trying to run or fly before you can walk. Okay, placing the credentials of your administrative users in PAM, that's a journey. It's a long journey. If you try to do that fast, you'll probably fail. Okay, if you don't have enough patience and you're saying, okay, yeah, let's vault these service accounts, we'll deal with the consequences, you'll probably fail. PAM solutions, and it's another topic whether it's good or bad. Deploying a PAM solution is a journey. It can be months, maybe even a year or a couple of years worth of effort. And it's very hard to speed that up. By the way, this is one of the greatest assistance that Silverfort hands you, because it can really accelerate all the onboarding part, because all the standard visibility gaps that you have regarding service accounts and admins are practically eliminated. So I think the worst mistake people can do with their PAM is being impatient, trying to get on board too fast, And second, I think it's second is taking for granted that the PAM really protects. And I think, something, I'll add a third one. I think password rotation, when it's not enforced in an intensive manner, I think if you use only the default of one every 30 days, it's practically ineffective. Okay, you should definitely make sure that your password rotation is enforced intensively within a very short time frames.
Brilliant. Well, we are at time, everyone here tuning in. So I just want to say thank you to the Silverfort team and their support of this Hacker News webinar series. I want to thank the team over at the Hacker News for helping put this webinar together. Thank you for everyone who took the last 40 minutes to spend time with Yiftach and me on this unbelievable and really important topic for any security program. I want to thank y'all for being part of the show. Yiftach, any parting words for anyone here watching us today?
Thanks everybody. I really hope I provide you at least food for thought, if not actual value. And I would be more than happy for you guys to reach out to me or to my friends at Silverfort with any question, any thought, any comment. I'm sure that you know things that we do not. Please do share them with us.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Yiftach, for the brilliant presentation. Thank you for all of y'all for all your questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them. I know that's always a challenge on these webinars. Otherwise, it'd just be awesome Q&A sessions. So go check out thehackernews.com for all the latest and greatest. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay cyber safe, y'all.